I, for one, as a college coach, would love to see him in the NBA. Go for it, coach. Go for it. We don't got to compete against you no more.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today on this Road Down Thursday edition. Full house starting with our college basketball consultant, Nima Overdon. Nima, good to have you again, sir. How are you?
Man, I'm great. If I was any better, I think it was a setup.
All right. And team leader extraordinaire, Mike King. Mike, what's going on, sir?
Doing well, ready to talk some college sports.
And Captain for Life, Will Cotton, is here. Captain for Life, how are you, sir?
I got some eligibility. I need some of that money.
All right, so in segment one, we're going to remind everybody of how hard college sports really is as we talk about Danny Hurley possibly transition to the NBA ranks. In segment two, times are changing, and we'll talk about that. And in segment three, Geno doubles down. We have to have that conversation. But first, college coaching in college sports is hard. Before NIL, Coach Mike Krzyzewski, formerly of Duke University, had an opportunity to coach the Lakers. They offered him a ridiculous amount of money, and he eventually turned it down and continued to have a stellar career at Duke. In the NIL era, Danny Hurley is fresh off back-to-back national titles, has a chance to go for three, but the Lakers are calling. And as we said on yesterday's show, LA is not Connecticut. So why stay? If Hurley stays, he could be the top modern coach in college basketball. He's 51. Bill Self at Kansas is 61. Rick Pitino, 71. They're the only coaches left with multiple national titles. Why leave? It's the NBA. You got a set roster. You don't have to worry about the things you have to worry about as a college coach. UConn can't pay what the Lakers can pay. And it's hard. It's just hard. So, Nima, I'm going to you, man. Talk about this situation with Danny Hurley from your lens, and any advice you want to give, feel free, sir. The floor is yours.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, Coach Hurley being one of the best competitors, one of the best executors in our game right now. Um, I I look at it from his perspective and think, okay, I've won two in a row. I could go after three, but we look at his historical decision making. He used to be at St. Anthony's and he was kicking everybody's butt then and said, you know what? I want that next challenge. I think the allure of the NBA is going to be really enticing to somebody who has gone on Twitter and said, I don't like the portal. Has been at the podium and said, I would love that next challenge. I think it'd be really interesting to tie in that NIL piece that you mentioned, and then I'd love to hear what you fellas think. The impending revenue sharing that's coming up, the Big East is not going to have as much revenue to share as everybody else. They don't got football. Okay, now UConn does have football, but everybody else in that league doesn't. So, okay, how does that affect things? Don't know. I know who's got the most when it comes to endorsements and opportunities. It's the Lake Show.
All right. Mike King, I can't wait to hear your lens on this. What are you thinking?
When Coach K was offered to go to the Lakers, Kobe was what, 26? He had 12 more years left. He had championships left in him. LeBron's old. In 12 years, he'll be retired probably for 11 years. So that would be my concern. But as I've said before, I'm going where the money's going. So if he leaves for a huge raise, I'm not mad at him. But if I'm him and I want to win, I'd rather wait. The job I'd really love is eventually the Spurs job be open. Maybe they go within, but That's the one where you look at and you go, oh, I could win for a decade plus versus I got to rebuild the Lakers soon. So that would be that's my concern with the Lakers. But again, go where the money is, because you could always go back to college and you could always find, another good basketball program and not be in Stores, Connecticut.
Will, what do you think?
Just go a different opposite way what you guys are talking. He could be strong and he could be strong arming UConn. I mean, UConn, like you say, he's making about $5 million a year, and they have deep pockets. You can easily go to UConn and say, well, hey, the Lakers offer me X and whatever. UConn and Kentucky's offering me da 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 da. I don't think he will. I think Nima and Michael said were agree. I think he's going to go to the Lakers. And it's very a low risk kind of thing. I mean, you go to the Lakers, that's been a difficult organization to play with since it's been here, the last 10 years at least. And if he fails, he can always go back to college and be a legend and make a ton of money. Yes, he will have a challenge. The Lakers, regardless of LeBron and the stars, the NBA is just difficult. But like I said, I think there's no lose for him. I think it's win-win. I think he's either going to get paid more from UConn or he's going to get a ton of money and respect from the Lakers. And if it doesn't work, he can go back to the college and make a ton of money. It's his world, man. There's really no wrong answer for him. So I think it's just what he wants to do and what you guys are talking about. I think he's going to take on that NBA challenge.
For me, in terms of leadership, Big John Thompson, the late great John Thompson, once told me personally that if you're not allowed to do the job the way you want to do it, then you can't take that job. And if the Lakers are looking at it like embracing Danny Hurley in terms of building it like a college program, that means they're heavy on player development. That means they're heavy on building a connection. That means whoever you bring in, you're going to have 2, 3, 4 years with them to develop them as players. So that is probably enticing. Another thing I have to look at in terms of coaching, the NBA is an 82 game season. You can't live and die on every game like you do in college. And there's some things that Coach Hurley is going to have to change. One, those sideline antics done. Okay. As somebody who was had some antics as a high school coach, college coach, sat down, did my job, kept it moving. Also, the fan interaction. You can't do that. And I think Danny can make those adjustments. Nima, I'm going to let you have the last word in this segment. Any final thoughts to that before we transition?
Yeah, two things. To Will's point, the Connecticut governor, shortly after the NCAA championship, was doing an interview where he said, like quote unquote, Danny's my number one state employee. He can have whatever he wants. So that's Will, you're on to something there. Now, Connecticut as a state financially is in a little tough spot, but they're producing money. UConn men's basketball. When they won the championship this year, and this kind of goes to Michael's point about other NBA teams, when they won the championship this year and they're on the podium, I remember Coach Hurley yelling out, Jersey City. Okay. Colin Cowherd tweeted this week, I thought about it. I was like, oh, he might be onto this. The Knicks job eventually will come open too.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Jersey City boy. All of a sudden, whether you're in the NBA currently or not, that Knicks thing will become really appealing. So there is a lot of nuance to this, but I do think what Danny Hurley does translates to the NBA. Okay, the sideline decorum. He's smart enough to know that part of that is gamesmanship, and in the NBA, that's not going to fly. I, for one, as a college coach, would love to see him in the NBA. Go for it, coach. Go for it. We don't got to compete against you no more.
All right. So, fans, when we get back, we're going to talk about times changing in terms of signage and paying and on field advertising. in college? We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches podcast. And in section 2, times they are changing. Fans, look for this to happen sooner rather than later. On-field sponsorship. Starting this season, the NCAA will allow commercial sponsor advertisement on football fields for regular season games in all 3 divisions. The NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel approved a recommendation from the Football Rules Committee. The new rule will allow corporate advertising to be placed in 3 spots on the field, a single advertisement centered on the 50-yard line, along with no more than 2 smaller flanking advertisements elsewhere on the field. And it can be done on a game-by-game basis for the entire season. Remember, with the House settlement, schools have to find $20 million somewhere to help with all of this. Doesn't mean that schools are going to do it, but hey, you have the ability to do it. Nima, is this where we are, man? Talk to me.
Absolutely. And schools will do it. Don't care if you're the richest of the rich, you're not leaving money on the table. And I'll take it a step further. Conferences are going to start to rename based on corporate sponsorship and branding. And
The
so now,
Dr. Pepper Big 12 Conference.
yes, that's happening. And so now you're going to have specifically for the low and mid majors opportunities to generate revenue that'll be spread out amongst everybody. So there's going to be a lot of competition. As a college coach, you can guarantee this year I'm going to be walking around with a big old T-shirt and a QR code that when I stand up and start yelling, what is he wearing? Let me scan that. Come on, you're going to my advertisement. We're going to generate some revenue. We have to. My bald head, I'm gonna have a QR code up here. Whatever.
Or like a boxer. If you get the boxer, put the little so-and-so.com on the
Yes, come on. Hey, companies, a lot of real estate up here, whatever you need.
Oh, man. Will, he's right. What do you
I love the game, man. I love it, man. I think that, one of the most fun are the marketing people, man. They make great commercials. They make it fun for products. It'll be just good to see who gets the win, man. It's a different time. We're getting kind of away from the traditional way, and that's kind of hurted the NCAA previously. But I think this is just be fun. I mean, everywhere we look in sports, we see ad now. I mean, we go in soccer. I mean, we see hockey everywhere. Marketing. So I mean, I don't even think the fans will even really notice until the guys who get really creative, like Nima said, you got a suit that's all red for, Dr. Pepper and got Dr. Pepper on the back and you're Dr. Pepper coach, you know what I'm saying? You get and then boom, you get a commercial. You never know. I mean, you never know. You do wear something, maybe it's a Slurpee, you do something crazy on the game. All of a sudden, 7-Eleven, hey, you're going to be our guy. Here's $5 million. Just be on this commercial. There's a lot of money out there. And there's a lot of guys, especially now. This is even the small schools. Imagine you're a small school, you're supporting, Boston market or whatever's around McDonald's,
Boston
whatever. Right. You see how old I am, right? I should have said Boston chicken. But imagine you do something that's go viral. That's like that's good. They're gonna be like, hey, you got 30 million views. Man, come over here and get 3 million. Let's get a commercial. Let's do something. It's so fun, man. I'm willing to see how creative they're going to be and all the money is going because it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fun.
Mike King, Come on, man. You're a Maryland alum. You were at Maryland during the heyday of Gary Williams. Is this where we are?
18 years ago, there was a movie about Ricky Bobby, and they had the windshield with Wonder Bread, and it was a joke. And now I wouldn't be surprised. This is just the world we live in. Maryland, the athletic director position is named after a booster. It's been named after a booster for years. You're not the athletic director. You're the what is it? The Barry Gossett something director. Like everything's about money. It's all sad. It's just we say this every week on the show. It's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? They just wanted spending money. We just gave the student athletes spending money. We wouldn't be here, but we dug our heels in. Oh, the scholarship, and now it's the Wild West, and that's gonna be the line we say every week because this isn't going away. It's just gonna keep going, and I get it. I wish Maryland was more proactive a couple of years ago when there was a chance for programs that were like to like jump into the stratosphere. I wish they took it a little bit more seriously. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy town.
All right. So fans, the CFP, the college football playoffs, are feeling froggy and they want to jump. They're going to take on the NFL. The first year of the 12-team college football playoff will kick off with a first round game on December 20th and conclude with a title game 1 month later in Atlanta. The first 4 CFP games will be on December 20th and 21st. ABC and ESPN will televise games on Friday and Saturday night with 8 p.m. kickoffs, and TNT will have December 21st afternoon games at 12 and 4. The afternoon games on TNT will go up against a pair of NFL games. We'll hear the 2 games. Houston, Kansas City at 1, Baltimore and Pittsburgh at 4:30. Well, what do you think about the college football playoffs rolling up their sleeves saying, let's go get them against the NFL?
Man, I could never knew why YouTube was really doing that, like quad box or double box, all that stuff. Now I see what they're waiting for, man. I'm ready to go, man. Back to back, maybe even a quad box, and those are the streaming services. That's how they build people. It's like, oh, well, now you're going to have overlapping games. Well, now you need I don't know if Sling does it, but I know that's going to bring a lot of people who are watching. It was like, I can watch both at the same time and then switch the audio just by pressing like that. I'm ready to go. My family is not going to like it because I'm going to be out of business. Don't bother me. I ain't trying to. I'm watching 600 games right now in the holiday season, right? But it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. There'll be something's on. And the ability, you remember back in the day, we used to have the last button. We used to have to real quick to go back to games. Now you can go to multiple games and stuff like that. It's just amazing technology is changing. I'm excited. They'll figure it up. And, and with social media, you don't miss anything, really. You don't. So I'm excited, man. More sports. Let's keep doing it. And take some chance on the NFL. Why not? They need some pressure. Run out.
Mike, those are some good games they're going to go against. What do you think about college football playoffs? Saying, let's do it.
If you want to try it this year, that's fine. But you're competing with yourself. This is your feeder program that's showing their games when people are going to be watching your playoff games. I don't know how I would feel about it because, again, the Giants probably won't be there. But if they were, and Maryland's there, like this, which they won't be either. But if both those things happen, I'd be like, this kind of sucks. I don't like this. I don't know. I feel like there's 7 days in a week. The NFL has taken as many of those days as they can, but we could have a week. The family's going to like this. You're not going to be wasting 5 days of the week. You're just going to be watching on these 2 days. Why not make it worse on the families and have college football on the days there's no NFL and we could go 7 days in the week? I'd rather that so everyone can watch everything because it's just there's only so many eyeballs. So you're taking away, you're competing, you're eating yourself, basically.
All right, Nima, you have the last word before we transition, sir.
we talked about how important and the prevalence of money has been. Marketing firms are going to look at the numbers at the end of this year. Like Michael said, there's only so many eyes. The eyeballs decrease, your dollars decrease. The following year, they'll figure it out. They will move it back, spread the games out. There's nothing wrong with playing on a Tuesday or Wednesday. I know NFL's crept into those dates. Hey, figure it out. Give it a break. They probably reacted a little bit too much to the coaches about, hey, the transfer portal. We need to go ahead and get the games. The heck with that. You need the money. You're gonna get your money. Go ahead and push it back, spread the games out, and compete with a wider scope. If I'm one of the big Texas schools, and I'm a huge A&M fan, I'm a huge Texas fan. And then the Houston Texans, most people are probably in Texas more inclined to their college team versus the Texans. The Texans will still have more eyeballs on them. So you can't go head to head with the big bad NFL.
Okay. All right. And fans, in segment 3, speaking of getting the money, Geno Auriemma is staying in college for one more contract cycle. We'll discuss that when we get back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast in segment 3. Geno doubles down. Geno Auriemma has signed a 5-year contract extension to remain at UConn. He is an 11-time national champion. This upcoming season will be his 40th in Stores, Connecticut. I've not had the pleasure of being in Stores, by the way. Hear that there's not much there. He is making good money. He is going to be the all-time winningest coach in the history of college basketball on the Division I level, possibly the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. Nima, what do you think about Geno staying when a lot of his contemporaries have headed for higher ground? What do you think, sir?
They haven't won one since 2016. Coach is super competitive. I remember vividly, by the way, when UConn landed as my team was leaving. We were at a private airplane terminal, and UConn came down with 2 planes. They landed with 2 planes. And I said, what is that other? Who are they? Oh, those are their fans. Geno's rolling his sleeves up and saying, all right, I'm going to go give you one. I'm going to go out on the top. Competitive guy, super amount of respect for him. I'm quite certain that they've loaded up. Also, they've had a lot of injuries.
Yes.
One of our local studs has been injury ridden. They're gonna find a way to get right back to the top. I'm very intrigued by it.
All right, Mike, what do you think? Geno's coming back, age 70, signed a 5-year deal, similar to my man Pop. What do you think?
He's gonna become the winningest coach and try and get that extra championship. But it's hard to get a championship now. It was easy when it was UConn and Tennessee. when Tennessee owned it and he was on the way up, and Tennessee coach
Pat Shermer.
retired. Yep. He was the only show in town. There's lots of shows in town. Lots of programs win now. So it's a lot harder. So we'll see if he can get one. But again, with NIL, that evens the playing field. There's lots of great women's basketball coaches. So it just seems like it's hard to criticize someone with that many championships. But he was the only show in town. And now this next one would be the hardest one by a mile if he can get it. And that's with getting the number one recruit every a couple years and top 2 recruiting classes every year. And it's still harder than it used to be, which is kind of crazy.
Will, any thoughts on Geno?
I think he's going the opposite way that what's the coach over in Alabama? What's his name? I forgot his name. Nick Saban. Yeah, he's already last year or whatever. He couldn't handle the NIL. He couldn't handle the transfer portal. So he left. I think either Geno feels the same way, but he's sort of embracing it in this way. He's doubling down. He's saying, I'll stay a little longer. I see the money's coming. I've seen I haven't seen anything that's, has affected UConn. I mean, we don't lose recruits like that. We don't lose the biggest recruit every time. If we don't, we get the second biggest recruit. I think the guy knows. Look, business is normal, dog. He's just gonna do his thing. Like Neiman says, he has no issues. Nobody's looking for his seat. No one's saying, "Hey, maybe you're getting old. Time for you to get away." He's trying to solidify his legacy. Obviously, I think that kind of. I know. He's very competitive, like Neiman says. So I know that when he lost those career wins, he wanted it back. And once that coach retired, he was like, "Yeah, I want that back, and I want to really make sure no one can get it." No issues about the guy, man. I think that he's an old grumpy guy who was like, "Man, I hate NIL and I hate transfer, but I love the win, so let's keep going." And you can't hate the guy. That's the game, man. He's not an idiot, so he's going to doing his thing until he's no longer wanted or walk on his own way. So. Good for him, man. More money. I mean, how many people are 70 years old and making $1 million? Yeah. That's if they're giving the money, if they're paying you, if they're giving you contracts, you sign them.
And I think Neiman was on to something. The last couple of years they've had injuries, and those women are coming back. And they've seen South Carolina. They've seen the Caitlin Clark phenomena, and we all have egos. And we're all competitors. And I think UConn's got something for the college game coming up. Before we close, Nima, any final comments on that as well as Danny Hurley before we wrap up?
Well, I'll even go back to our other discussion about revenue generation because this is something that did come to mind. Deion Sanders this year took college football by storm, had his sunglasses sold millions of dollars versus these sunglasses. In every sport and every avenue, the more creative we can get, like Will said, the better your program is going to become. And so hiring marketing minds and branding minds within your sporting divisions, not just within the athletic department, is going to become really crucial to your long-term success.
Absolutely.
Do you think that will become like sports news? Now it's like, hey, we're now hiring this new marketing director from Apple or from Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Those will be just beyond the same contracts that go for like ESPN popping up like so-and-so's making $20 million for 5 years as the marketing director at what university. This is their resume.
Yes.
Is that what we're going to see moving forward?
Duke University men's basketball hired, I believe her name is Rachel Baker. I apologize if I got it wrong. She was a big time executive within Nike and is now the general manager for Duke men's basketball. And she is, by all accounts, she's one of the top out there. She's a goon when it comes to going and getting the marketing dollars, the sponsorships, the endorsement opportunities. And so when you bring in that number one recruit and sit him down in the office, we go through, here's our X's and O's, here's our school. And Rachel, tell us a little bit about the corporate sponsorships that you can bring to the table. Absolutely. It's huge. It's everything.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. So as we close, fans, we are 4 weeks away from our season previews of college football conferences. Each week beginning July 11th until August 22nd, we will take a deep dive into every conference as we get ready for the college football season. And we will even talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. So look forward to having that. I hope to have some of these fine folks on the panel, depending on contracts. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. We will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.